Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good. I am good. Enjoying the AC in this epic room of yours. Emma, thank you for hosting us. Feels great.
Yes, because we are in Emma's room. Today we have a special guest, our first guest. Her name is Lena. We'll hear all about her. She's gonna talk today. She's gonna be the main character of the episode. Emma and I are sharing a microphone, so we cannot talk at the same time. It's not gonna be easy. But I'll give the microphone to her so she can say hi too.
Yes, we're so excited to have you on the podcast today. We were really inspired. She's living in the villa with us right now, and
The best villa ever.
the best villa ever.
Ever.
Yes, and fellow American.
Woo woo.
Woo, woo, fellow
Go
Californian.
Don't forget that.
Fellow Californian. Yes,
Yeah,
we
for
love
sure.
California.
I know.
But I like to think of this episode as inspired by illness or
Mm.
just something that inspired you to really live your authentic life.
Mm.
And we know you have an incredible story with that. Beatrice and I both have a little bit of that. Like, my dad passed away from cancer when I was 21, and that really put a lot into perspective for me of just like living your life to the fullest and what you want to do. Beatrice, your little journey.
Yes, so I am traveling with arthritis. So I've been diagnosed arthritis at 15 and I need to take like really specific medication for my whole life. And I never really had to struggle with the like managing the medication because at home it's super easy to access it. And we have really good like health insurance in Canada, which is I'm super lucky about that. But when I had the project of like traveling full time and for a long time, my medication was such a big deal because first of all, it needs to stay cold at all time.
Oh,
So I
didn't
was
know that.
traveling with a little lunchbox with like needles, and in Southeast Asia backpacking, and like it has to stay cold. So even if you do like you take overnight buses, you have to find like ice to keep it cold. It was such a big challenge. And now actually I'm in Bali living in Delululand because my travel insurance, well, my health insurance, I had to change because first at the beginning I was a teacher, so my insurance from my teacher job were covering me. But then in 2024, because I'm not a teacher anymore, I had to change to the public system, and it's taking 6 months to process my request. So I'm still waiting to hear from the government, the Canadian government, to be covered. So right now I'm traveling without medication, without taking it. But I just think it puts you in perspective of like, yes, I have this big challenge, but it's not gonna stop me from achieving my dreams. And I think
Right.
you can really relate to that.
Yeah. So, question for you though. I mean, are you in pain all the time?
No, so
Okay.
I've been kind of lucky. So I had arthritis for a long time, and usually with like blood test, they can detect arthritis, but mine they couldn't for I don't know why.
Because you're special.
I'm so special.
Most special.
But then because of that, everybody thought I was faking when I said it was like hurting me. So what happened is like for years, people were telling me like this is not real pain. And so with time, my brain just registered that this is not pain. So I never really feel the arthritis pain. And like my doctor, she's like, you're such a special case because she's like, right now you should be in pain, but I don't feel it. So it's kind of a good thing in a way. I think I'm lucky because I know people that has arthritis and it's not easy. And sometimes you cannot even move out of the bed. But I don't have that because when I was a kid, nobody was believing me. So it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's such a good thing because that allows me to be in Delululand in Bali. But tell us about your story because she has such a good story. Like, it's so inspiring.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. Incredible. And just so you guys know who are listening in or even watching, I'm not really sure what you guys are doing with the video, but whatever you guys
We
doing,
are.
Yeah. I would have never, ever known that both of these incredible women had anything going on. Both of them. Emma is absolute savage. If you guys ever get the pleasure of meeting her in person, make sure you don't ask how her axe throwing skills are.
Yeah, that was a crazy night.
And I mean, Beatrice, like, you would never know. You show up, you smile, you're pouring into every single person who comes into this villa, and you would never know. So I think that's just a good testament that any person that you guys are meeting, whether you're on your travel journey, whether it's just someone who comes into your life, you don't know what they're currently battling. And I feel like having that lens as you're going through the world is so important. And I think for me, I mean, people would never know because I actually never talk about my story. So it's probably not going to be as refined as I would like it to be. But I did share a little bit with Beatrice. Oh my gosh, was that yesterday? The day before? 2 days ago?
At the LCA event, so it was on Friday, I think.
Oh my gosh,
Saturday.
I don't want it to end. I'm leaving Bali soon and it's too sad.
She's going back to Thailand.
I know.
But it's true. Like, you know, you've been here, what, a week now, maybe?
Yeah, a week.
And I don't know your story. And you're such a positive light. Like, just your energy around the villa. You have this, like, almost like Mother Earth vibe to me.
Whoa.
Like, so
Oh, I got
grounded.
chills.
So grounded. And I'm sure that, like, after hearing your story, we're going to learn, like, why you're so grounded and why you're so positive. So,
Wow.
yeah, like, maybe just start from the beginning. What is your story?
Yeah. So just so you guys know, I'm 30 years old. So I'm in my dirty 30s. Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo. I'm 33. So.
Wait, are you really?
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Wait,
girl.
Okay, there we go. So I am in my 30s, but growing up, it was my dad, my mom, and then I have a blood brother. And when I was 5 years old, my mom passed away, and she passed away from cancer. And it went from my mom passing away to my grandma passing away of cancer to my grandpa passing away of cancer. And it was literally all within a couple years. So it completely rocked my family. And I give my dad so much kudos because it was his mom, his dad, my mom, and like, so his wife. And I'm like, man. And then he was raising 2 kids, me and my little brother. And I'm like, I can't even fathom like everything that he has gone through. So I definitely give him like, he's the man. He is the, wait, is that flagged? Are we having a rave?
Wait,
Wait,
I'm going to
pause,
unplug it.
please.
There.
Okay, I'm like, whoa.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
If you're not watching the video, the LED light is giving party vibes.
Wow, that's called Mother Bali. In case you guys didn't know, she is in the room.
She is in our presence.
Yeah. So, so cancer was super prevalent in my life, and what's so weird is that I always thought I was going to get it and die. To be honest, like that sounds so morbid, but I was like, I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. I'm never going to do these things because my mom died so young. So she died when she was 32. So I just had like this fear, like this constant fear that like, what's the point? Like, I'm going to die anyways. Like, that's just what life is. So that happened. A whole lot of life happened from 5 years old to 19 going into 20. And at that point, I was playing volleyball. I was super stinking healthy. I was just doing my thing. I was still like, I just wrapped up high school, was, just doing all the normal things that you would be doing at 19 years old, right? And then I had this lump in my throat and I was just like, what the heck? Like, what is this? And I ended up going to the doctor and they were like, we're going to do a biopsy. And we did it. And then they like have us come back, me and my stepmom, and they were like, you have cancer. And we were like, oh my gosh, like what? Are you kidding? I was like, I haven't even done anything. Like, I'm so healthy. Like, how is this happening? And then, oh my gosh, it was crazy because the doctor did not have any emotional intelligence. He was like straight up just like, you have cancer. And my stepmom was like, what?
Like no bedside manners.
Yeah. Like, excuse me. Do you want to like prep us a little bit? Let us know, hey, we have bad news. We have good news. Nothing. So that was honestly just a pivotal time in my life where I was just like, whoa, like I felt like I've done everything right. I've been super active. I've been eating healthy. I've been doing all the things. Yet it doesn't matter. Like I still had cancer. So that was where that all started. And it was thyroid cancer. So if you are a female, I'm sure you guys have heard. And if you've ever been in a health journey, like we talk a lot about your thyroid, how that impacts weight loss, weight gain, like it controls everything. It is so important. So how that looked was we had to make a decision. It was either like do radiation and completely remove it, or my other option was to remove half of my thyroid and pray that it doesn't spread. But at the end of the day, it's probably a good chance that it'll come back. So what we decided to do was just remove half, kind of risk it for the biscuit. And so, yeah, I get checked every 3 months. I have to take medicine for the rest of my life. So just like you, except mine doesn't have to be refrigerated.
Well, and every 3 months, you're also living in Thailand now.
Right.
So how does that work with traveling so much? Are you constantly searching for a place to get this checked? And is
Yeah.
that stressful?
Yeah. So I haven't had to do that just yet. So we just started our traveling journey, which I'm sure we're going to jump into, but it's been super, super easy to actually get my medication in Thailand. So I can go to any pharmacy. Yeah, I can go to any pharmacy. It's literally a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the price of what I paid in the US, which is wild, with health insurance. So yeah, it's been crazy. But
Is it expensive?
here or in?
Well, how much is it in the US and how much is it in Thailand to compare it?
Yeah, so without insurance, it's a couple $100. With insurance, it ends up being like $50 a month for it.
So you have insurance from the US that covers you from here?
So good question. So no, so I had that in the US. When I went to Thailand,
Yeah.
I did Safety Wing. Have you guys heard of
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. You
They're
too?
my
Yeah. So I'm just using Safety Wing, and oh my gosh, I don't even know what 100 baht is USD, but it was like 90 something baht for a month supply, which I think is like
So
nothing.
they cover you from a known illness?
With Safety Wing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding? So they might cover me for too.
I think they will. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. I feel like they will for sure.
Really? But
You should
mine
look
is
into
really
it.
expensive. It's 1,400 per month.
Per month.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll ask. What?
Yeah, you should. What if you were to pay out of pocket here? Is that an option?
Well, because mine is like kind of a new medication, so it's not everywhere yet. So I'm not even sure if I could find it here. I know they have it like in country like Australia or like Europe, US, but here I'm not sure if I could find it. So that's the biggest, like this first step I should look
definitely
at.
go to like a pharmacy to see.
Yeah.
Just to check out your options.
That's so interesting that you can do that. Wow.
It's so easy. So I don't know if you have to take anything or no, you are just lucky. She has Norwegian blood in her.
Yes, I do feel the only thing I do have is asthma, but that's pretty easily managed with just my inhalers. I don't have to take it all the time, but I respect the both of you so much because travel is so complicated enough, and to be traveling with, not an illness, I guess we would say anymore, but you always have to keep this in mind.
Yeah.
And you with your arthritis, Beatrice, it's like that's a huge factor. And I have so much respect for both of you to also inspire other people to like not let that hold them back.
Right.
Because it is a complication. And I think like you talking about your journey and well, so I'm curious to know what happened because you had cancer at 19.
Yeah.
When then did you always have a passion for travel, or did this kind of like ignite something in you?
Yeah, such a good question. So what happened was I was not ever really exposed to travel beforehand. My family didn't do much once they had kids. So my mom was a Rams cheerleader. She did like all the incredible things. So she did a ton of traveling. And then she met my dad, and my dad was like this farmer, like so like, and just not about that life. So we didn't really do anything at all growing up. And then what happened was I had my cancer. I was like, why is this happening to me? Why? Like, I just have so much more life to live. Like, what is going on? That ignited something in my soul to where it was like, I am either going to let this diagnosis, right, kind of be the story of my life and be a victim of it, or I can live. And I chose to live. So, and it was crazy timing because how it worked out was I like just had my surgery for it. Like we were just going through like the recovery process, which was a lot. And then there was this thing at my university or at my school, and it was this study abroad trip to Italy. Never have I ever been abroad before, and it was just totally God's timing, in my opinion. Like, it was just something I never planned for. I knew I had this little inkling in my heart that, like, I have so much more to live for. Like, this can't be the end. This isn't the end for me. And I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, no, you are not going. Which I respect.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they were worried. They were like, girlfriend, you just had cancer. You are still recovering. Like, I had the most ugliest scar on my neck. Like, it was like summertime in California, wearing scarves. Like, they probably thought I had hickeys, like trying to cover it up. And it was really gross. Like, it looked like I was in like some kind of crazy accident. Like, it was nasty. And still, having to be careful with everything. And still at that point, I think I was doing doctor's appointments every single month. Like, it was a lot. And they were like, no, you're not going. This is too scary. What are you going to do? All this stuff. And they were like, we're not going to support you. And I didn't have a job at that time. Like, I was just like trying to figure out my life. And I knew I had to go. And I said, okay, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to save up for it and go. And they were like, no, you're not. And I did it. So what I did was I ended up getting a job. I saved up every single penny that I could, and I went. And it was so crazy because even when I did go, there was still zero support there, which was, I think it was just them trying to be super protective. That's how they were showing love. I don't think it was to like hinder me or to keep me from any life experiences. I think it was more of just like, this is scary. Like, our daughter was diagnosed with cancer and we have a ton of deaths that have happened. So I don't have any like grudges against them, but I'm really glad that I stood my ground because here I am today in Bali with you guys.
Okay, so I wanted to say something because not only did you have this cancer battle you were dealing with, but you also didn't necessarily have the support from your parents. And I feel really grateful in the way that my parents were big travelers.
Yeah, your mom was just out here with you.
My
right?
mom
In
is
Bali.
literally still in Bali.
She's still in Bali?
She's living her best life. She
Really?
was
You
living
wanna
in
meet
London
her?
last year for
For
6
sure.
months.
Wow.
She lived in Norway, Japan. Like, she really set the tone for me as
Wow.
a female traveler. Beatrice, I know, didn't necessarily have support from your parents.
Spill the tea, B.
Yeah. I'm sorry for my parents listening. They hate it when I say that because they are such good parents. And
Yeah.
like you said, they weren't doing this because they didn't want me to like be happy or whatever. I think they were stressed. And I think the thing we have in common is that my parents, like my mom and my dad, have been solo travelers. So they know
Wow.
what it was, but the reality is so, so, so different. And I think for them, the scariest part wasn't me traveling by myself. Yes, it was scary, but I think the main problem of like where I didn't have support was like where I just said, I'm quitting teaching to travel. I think that was the game changer because it was like, you have a safe job, you have like a safe environment, all of your life is like aligned with society. Why do you want to like screw this up and just go traveling? So I think my dad really, really struggled with this. So yeah, they just gave so much, my sister and I, so we could go to the best school, go to university. They paid for everything, like.
Wow.
But then I'm like, thank you for paying for my university, but bye.
I'm not going to use it.
Yes. So I think that was their struggle more than like the
Yeah.
solo traveling part.
Yeah, it's scary. I think every parent has that fear when their child decides to take on entrepreneurship because you're leaving that stability, you're leaving having that 401k and just that safety because a lot of parents aren't entrepreneurs. They haven't experienced it. And you have to think they grew up in just the times that they did, like it was all about having that secure job and staying and grinding out, even if that job sucked, stay there until you're old and you're ready to stop.
Exactly. And I wanted to ask, because like, so you explained your trip to Italy, but then now you have a remote job and you're working for LCA, the Lost Creator Academy. So how did they react to this? Because there's like, now you're 30.
Yeah.
So something happened between Italy and here. What happened?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, so much happened, but it's interesting because I feel like having that cancer chapter of my life truly set me up for some serious resilience that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I don't know if I would be here today living in a random villa with the most incredible humans in Bali. And I think it's really that resilience, because during that time I had to figure out who I am, what I want, understand like, hey, life is short. It's truly not promised to anyone. It can happen at any time. No matter how much you take care of yourself, no matter how you prepare, it doesn't matter. So being in that first phase there, having to, it probably even goes back to my mom, because having to explain that to, and we can even deep dive into how it is with your dad. It is hard. It is hard. But, having to explain that to your friends and everyone saying they're so sorry for you. And you're just like, man, I have no words for it. Like, it's so tough. But with that, so I think having to build that resilience from there led me to, despite what my parents said, still going to Italy. Then that led to me not taking the job that they thought I should be taking when I graduated. I followed my heart with that one. I quit that one, went to another one. I quit that one, went to another one. And my family was like, what are you doing? You can't stick with anything. Little did they know that every sole decision that I made was truly in alignment. And it might not have made sense back then. And they still might not see the picture. But everything, all of those little cookie crumbs, every little decision, every like little thing that I had to explain and they still didn't get it, it has truly led me here, and I wouldn't have changed it for anything. So from me changing different corporate careers, and yes, it was climbing the ladder, whatever they want to say, to me getting to a director position, finishing law school, doing everything that I was going to do, to, all right, now I'm going to quit and I'm going to go be a fitness trainer online. My parents were like, what are you doing, you psychopath? And then, having this, I had to start that phase over of them like questioning, who the heck are you? Who did I raise? Over and over and over again. And I think that has made me stronger and know who I am more than if they were to have supported. Like, it really put me in that pickle of like, you need to be so confident in you that no matter if anyone doesn't believe in you, you believe in yourself enough.
I can relate to that, and I'm sure Emma too, like 100%. So we talk a lot about following your gut feeling as a solo female traveler, even for like safety and like, but important. I think the way you present it, it's so true. Like, your gut feeling is just not, it is not just when you're traveling. It's literally like just in life. Just follow your gut feeling. Deep down what you truly want. And I remember like when I was a teacher, I was like crying every single day, and I was working half of the time I'm working right now, but I was so miserable and so low of energy. And right now I'm working so much, but I love what I'm doing, and I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure Emma can relate. I love so much what I'm doing that I don't have this feeling of being exhausted all the time. I think it's just because I'm aligned with what I truly want. So I can totally relate with that.
Yeah, and I wanted to say I think it's really admirable, because it's scary to quit jobs. There's so much conditioning in our society, and like our parents' generations. It was a lot more traditional. And we're lucky to now have enough examples of people that quit and said, you know what, we can see somebody on TikTok that inspires us to do that. And just to hear you like not be afraid to say no to things and jobs that just aren't aligned for you. And to hear you now at 30, which you're married to the love of your life, and you're in such alignment. You're working for on Christian's team, who he's literally the reason we're all in this house. He has an incredible YouTube channel. He's such an amazing person. you're a boss.
Oh,
As we're saying, well, you're not a girl boss. You're a boss because we don't have to put girl in front of boss to be a
no,
boss.
we are just bosses.
And you are. And I just
Mhm.
think that is so, like you said, the little crumbs.
It's breadcrumbs. And I feel like when we're going through it, like it doesn't make sense. Like even when difficult things are happening or, you know, and I'm sure you felt this way too, like when your dad was passing and you went through all of that, like why is this happening? Nothing makes sense. Like there's breadcrumbs.
Yeah, and I think like when you think about maybe in the moment with your diagnosis, it probably felt like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody would feel that way being diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
But now you have like 2020
Yeah.
and it led you to kind of maybe your dream life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting because at first I was like, why is this happening to me? And I felt like I probably had a couple times in my life where like, why me? And I think through entrepreneurship too, like I have learned that those struggles, those things that feel like setbacks, like those are the things, that little testimony, like that is what equips you to bridge that gap between the clients that you're working with, the impact that you're supposed to have. Because if you didn't go through that experience, then those people aren't going to relate. Like you're not going to be able to have that connection with them. So it always works out for the end.
That is so true. Like you really have a well-rounded perspective.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you've been through it and you built that resilience and like that's so a part of your energy. I keep saying that, but you do have a very powerful energy.
Shoot.
And I feel
I can't throw axes, but you know, I got some energy. I'll take it from the axe queen herself. Thank you.
Yes. We all went out the other night and there was some axe throwing and I definitely went in.
You went so hard.
There was video evidence of my performance.
I am pretty sure that ever since that day, I've watched that video over at least 3 times a day just to feel laughter. Like I just want to, like, it just makes me so happy.
It was
like,
insane.
That was the best night ever.
Yes.
Oy. But back to your question about if my parents, that was like total
Tangent alert.
Yeah. But they still do not support me. So throughout this, so what's so funny is I had my fitness coaching business and then I started working with Lost Creator Academy. My dad was like, oh my gosh, finally you have a real job. And I was like, do you not know that I scaled my coaching business and I was changing people's lives? Like I did all these incredible things, but like just because I now have a 9 to 5, like what? So that was funny. But then when we told them that we were moving overseas, they lost it. It was actually probably the hardest thing I had to overcome. And it was we're going, and it was almost a thing. Like I had a conversation with my stepmom where she was just like, well, there goes our relationship. She's like, it's going to be superficial now. You know, there's just kind of like went off on it. And I had to step back and think like, okay, they're pushing and projecting like their feelings. Like it's not a me thing. It's not like this is so unheard of that no one has ever done this and like I'm really screwing up. But it was like, they don't understand. Their entire family has lived on the same block. Me moving an hour and a half away was like the biggest deal for them. And they told me almost every time they talked to me, please move closer. And I'm like, no, I love space is good.
It's healthy.
Yeah, space is healthy. So it's honestly been tough because this time around it was a little different because now they were saying that, and I love them. If you guys are watching this, I know that you guys love me and I love you guys too, but they were using the card of, we're getting older. We're not going to be here forever. Are you sure you want to miss out? Are you sure you want to leave? Who knows when we're going to be gone? And I was just like, oh, that's so tough. Cause that's like, my dad is everything. Like I held on to him because I lost my mom. Like I was totally a daddy's girl. So that was hard. And then I had to like sit and steep and be like, me making this decision and actually going through with what I said I was going to do. I need to prove to myself and continue to keep proving myself that my word holds value. My word holds weight. So when I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And it was something that I feel like they still message me, like kind of guilting me a little bit. But yeah, what's interesting, and I guess I can open up about this, but literally a month before we decided, before the actual move, my husband and I actually decided to go to therapy because I was like, hey, my dad literally means everything to me. And everything he says gets in my head. It truly does, because I just value him so much. And I was like, I want to be prepared to handle and to process through, like still following through with this, even though it's something that he absolutely does not agree with. So we literally did like a month of therapy, like right before, and then like the first week of us being here, just to help me prepare and like process through, like, okay, how can you respond to them? Why are they doing this? Is what I'm doing wrong? Because they keep telling me that I'm wrong. So I think that was helpful. Like if anyone's struggling, just go to therapy.
It's so true, honestly. I
Yeah.
think it's just like, I think some people feel that you need to follow your family and like your footsteps and everything, but it's so important to live your truth in your life.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing what you love, then you're probably going to have resentment towards the people that are trying to put you in a box and make you live a certain lifestyle. And speaking of like them getting older and maybe trying to play that card, these are also like considered quote unquote the best years of your life. And like when you're really figuring out who you are and building your life with your husband.
Yep.
And so I don't know, you just keep saying things where I'm like, yes, queen, 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 slay, inspiration.
You guys are so sweet. But also I think a couple things, but one is that we get advice from people who maybe we don't necessarily want to live their same life. So I think that's something that people should also consider too. Like, yes, we love our parents. Yes, you should respect them, like always. Like, even if you disagree, like, don't disrespect them. But if they're giving you advice from a place of a life and experiences that maybe you don't want to have, don't take advice from them. Like, not that type of advice. Like, my parents love to be in the middle of nowhere on a field with family. Why would I take the same advice to go move somewhere in the middle of a field? Like, it's just not in alignment at all.
And that's so true. I relate 100% with that. And I wanted to ask, because you talked a lot about your family, but how about your friends? Because I know that for me, half of my friends, it was so hard to start like content creation, and I felt so judged. And it was hard to like, I had to deal with my parents, but my friends was also a struggle. So I'm curious, how was that for you?
Yeah. So I would say in the friend department, I am super stinking blessed and lucky, because my network of friends, 10 out of 10 humans. Most of them are entrepreneurs. Most of them are just literally changing the world. So they were like, wow, I'm so sad you're leaving, but you go, girl. Like, you go do this. I will see you wherever you are. They honestly all said Bali. They're like, I'll see you in Bali.
It's a sign.
Yeah,
it's a
even
sign.
though we were going to Thailand. So that was incredible. And what's crazy, did you do like a friend going away party at all for you?
No, not really, because it was messy when I left. But yeah, no, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I did. Surprisingly, like, we don't really do many parties, but I got like all my closest friends together. We went to my favorite sunset spot in San Diego. Yeah, it was the best night ever. And it was crazy because I mean, I feel like I'm normally the person who like kind of affirms it as like, hey, you're doing this, like, this is incredible. And it was the weirdest thing, because we all sat in like a little circle. We had protein pizza, 10 out of 10.
Protein pizza?
Yeah, it was so good. If you go to San Diego, I'll spill the tea on the secret place. But it was crazy because like they all like went around and shared how we impacted their lives and how we've changed their life.
That's so beautiful.
The craziest thing, because I've never really had anyone do that to me. And it's weird to know that even though people aren't telling you the impact that you're having on their lives, or like they might not agree, or they might feel a little judgy because you're starting content creation, because really deep down they wish they were starting content creation.
Yes.
And you were taking action.
Yes.
Just your impact is huge. So when I was like listening to them, I was like, I cannot believe this. Like,
wow, that's such
I'm lucky
a good
with my
idea.
friend group. I am so beyond lucky.
Yes, but I think also when you do big moves like this, for me, it was like I did a cleaning of my friends, and the one that never judged me stayed there for the whole time. I knew they were true friendship. And if my life decision impacts your way of acting with me and you're judging me for this, it's not impacting at all your life.
Right.
So if this affects our friendship, it just, at the end of the day, it's maybe a good thing that we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
But when this is happening, like, I love to say the like breakup friendship. Like, I had so many friendship breakups and it's so hard. And I don't think we talk enough about it. Like, we talk a lot about love breakup, but friendship breakup is so hard, so hard. And usually you're like, sometimes you still have friends in common, so you still have to see this person, but you know it's not like you cannot have this person anymore in your life. So all this is a challenge that we should talk a lot about this, because I know I had so much struggle. I had struggled a lot with this.
I feel like that's a really good episode topic.
We just want to say thank you for being the first guest on Going Solo. You are such an inspiration. And it is honestly, like, this is cheesy, but it's honestly an honor to sit here with you and hear your journey and your story. So thank you.
Wow, I'm honored that you guys asked me, to be honest. Like, that's so huge. And I was telling Beatrice, like, at the very beginning when I first remember when I first met you and you were just like, we're going to start a podcast, we're going to do this. And I was like, whoa, I'm honored to be a part of, like, before you even asked me to be on the podcast, this foundational phase, because I know it's going to take off. Like, you guys are both so special and so unique and have such a great heart that it's inevitably going to boom and have such a big impact. So it's cool. If you guys could see the behind the scenes, like, it's going to be crazy to see where we started here.
It's so season 1 vibes. I'm telling you, the lights are on my bed.
Yeah, we had a little rave with the light.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And it's a testament that if you have a big goal, if you have a desire, you have a calling on your heart, do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys are doing. So you literally paid someone $45 to get a bigger room.
I really did. And if
scrappy.
if you're not watching the YouTube and you're just listening, I think we all have a little bit of tears in our eyes. It just feels good to connect and like really get to know somebody, like, for the depths of who they are. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. Like, it really, really means a lot. So we have a little fun, this or that.
Can they be spicy?
They could be spicy if we get it in. Beatrice would be the spicy one to ask.
Oh God, what am I doing?
These are just quick. So
okay, go. Like rapid fire.
Yes.
Ooh, okay, let's go.
Backpack or suitcase?
Backpack.
Overpacker, underpacker?
Is this like my reality or what I aspire to be?
Reality.
Overpacker.
Same. Planning everything or playing it by ear?
Playing it by ear.
Hostel or hotel?
Hotel.
Slow travel or new place every night?
Slow.
Beach or mountain?
Obviously, beach.
Woohoo! Southeast Asia or South America?
Oh my gosh, this is actually the hardest question, but I'm going to say Southeast Asia right now.
Okay.
That's subject to change.
Early morning yoga or partying?
Early morning yoga.
Yeah, we wrote that down. We're like, do we even need to ask this?
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
We know what she's going to say.
Thank you again so much, Lena. It was so great to have you. If people want to follow your Instagram, what's your like official?
Yeah,
IG?
so my handle is Lena Marie Collins. It's at LenaMarieCollins, and that is my handle.
Like a little song, kid song.
Like a little melody, but that is my handle across all platforms, website, everything. So if you guys want to go check out what I'm doing, feel free to find me there.
Thank you so much. And we're going to put the links in the description of the podcast.
Amazing.
She's amazing. Thank you. And we'll see you next week, people.
Thank you. Bye-bye.